Hello everyone. Welcome to TELLS Videtionary. Today, March 12th, our word of the day is redundant. R-E-D-U-N-D-A-N-T. Redundant. Redundant is a 9-letter word and an adjective. Remember, adjectives are words that describe the qualities or states of being of nouns: enormous, dog-like, silly, yellow, fun, fast. They can also describe the quantity of nouns: many, few, millions, 11. Redundant means unnecessary because it is more than is needed. In other words, not or no longer needed or useful, superfluous. The word redundant applies to things that are unnecessary or could be left out. Calling a blank sheet of paper empty is redundant. Teachers often tell students to avoid being redundant, meaning avoid saying something twice or more. Have you ever heard someone tell a story and repeat the same thing over and over? The repeated parts are redundant. Sometimes being redundant can make things clear, but it can also be annoying. Redundant can apply to anything that's overflowing or unnecessary. If a business has 2 stores on the same street, one is redundant. When you hear redundant, think too much. Redundant is an adjective that is commonly used to describe something that is unnecessary, superfluous, or repetitive. It refers to a situation or element that is excessive or surplus to requirements. Let's explore various tips on how to effectively use the word redundant in sentences to convey its intended meaning. Contextual understanding. Before using the word redundant in a sentence, it is crucial to have a clear understanding of its meaning and how it relates to the specific situation or element you are describing. This will ensure that you use the word accurately and effectively. Identifying excessiveness. When using redundant in a sentence, it is important to identify and highlight the excessive or unnecessary aspect of the subject matter. For example, you could say, the additional safety measures implemented were redundant, as the existing ones were already sufficient. Avoiding repetition. Since redundant itself implies repetition, it is advisable to avoid using it redundantly in a sentence. Instead, focus on using it to describe a situation or element that is already repetitive or superfluous. For instance, you could say, the repeated use of the same information in the report was redundant and did not add any value. Clarifying the impact. To enhance the clarity of your sentence, it is beneficial to explain the impact or consequence of the redundancy. This will help the reader understand why the situation or element is unnecessary. For example, you could state, the inclusion of unnecessary details in the presentation was redundant and only served to confuse the audience. Providing alternatives. When using redundant in a sentence, you can also suggest alternatives or more efficient approaches to avoid redundancy. This demonstrates your ability to think critically and problem solve. For instance, you could say, the repetitive use of certain phrases in the essay could be replaced with synonyms to avoid redundancy and enhance the overall quality of the writing. Considering different contexts. Redundant can be used in various contexts, such as in technology, language, or organizational structures. It is essential to consider the specific context in which you are using the word to ensure its accurate application. For example, you could state, the outdated software features were redundant and no longer served a purpose in the modern technological landscape. Using examples. To further illustrate your point and provide clarity, incorporating examples in your sentence can be highly effective. This allows the reader to visualize the redundancy you are describing. For instance, you could say, the inclusion of the same information in both the introduction and conclusion of the research paper was redundant and added unnecessary length to the document. Maintaining conciseness. While it is important to provide sufficient context and explanation, it is equally crucial to maintain conciseness in your sentence. Avoid using excessive words or unnecessary details that may make the sentence itself redundant. Keep your sentence clear, concise, and to the point. In conclusion, the word redundant is a versatile adjective that can be effectively used in various contexts to describe something that is unnecessary, superfluous, or repetitive. By following these tips, you can confidently incorporate redundant into your sentences, conveying its intended meaning accurately and effectively. Similar words include unnecessary, not required, inessential, unessential, needless, unneeded, uncalled for, dispensable, disposable, expendable, unwanted. Examples of sentences using redundant are: in the sentence, "She is a single unmarried woman," the word unmarried is redundant. The programmer deleted the redundant line of code that added no value to the software program. Since the teacher told us she was not going to be redundant with her lectures, we knew we had to listen to her every word. I consider the celebrity's ownership of 30 automobiles to be quite redundant. As the bus driver repeatedly told the kids to take their seats, I started to cringe each time I heard the redundant words. My professor's redundant speech consisted of him saying the same thing over and over again. Make sure to save this new word, redundant, so you can practice using it in your everyday sentences.
That's all for today. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope you learned something new. Remember, practice makes perfect, and we'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment after every video. All comments are welcome. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you receive similar videos every day. Have a fulfilling day. See you tomorrow. Cheers!